Hey, Patrick, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you bet. Well, looking forward to learning about what your services that you offer with ProdLogic. And I found it an interesting segue into the industry that you previously worked for Apple.
I did. So back when Apple was kind of getting its heels into being more popular again, I was a software trainer. So I would teach teach people that were coming in how to use Apple products because a lot of people hadn't even opened a MacBook or been on an iMac before. So they would come in and say, "How do I use this thing?" They just bought a computer, so there was training at the stores at that time, and I was one of the first people that was there to help them train because I take technology and I can move it into a world where they understand or people understand, make it easier to kind of digest.
Hmm.
So it was just kind of natural to me to say, hey, you know what? Come over here and sit down. Let's show you how to handle your photos, and that kind of bridged into some more professional applications over the years. And I used to go to different stores and train professional applications, and it was just a real fun experience.
Yeah, I could have used your help years ago when I first got my MacBook. I don't think I ever, learned really all the features, and even with my iPhone, I think it's there's just a lot to learn. And if you're not savvy with it, or you don't have someone training you, I mean, you could be missing out.
Well, there's just so much that an application can do. And it's designed, if it's designed right, it's designed to just kind of float into the background and just have you enjoy it. So as a software trainer, one thing that I kind of learned was how people interacted with software. And that gave me some very important insight into, okay, this is laid out this way for a reason. It's designed this way to be easy. But when you use software and it kind of gets in the way, those are the apps you tend to delete, if it's on your phone, or, in our industry, it's an app that you don't want to use, right? It might have all the bells and whistles and things that you want, but at the end of the day, you might still handle that process in a spreadsheet because that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you understand because the software was just either too complicated or it wasn't laid out correctly.
Right.
So it's an important viewpoint to have that when someone sits down to your software, or sits down to even just a consulting session, like, what is the problem you're trying to achieve and how can you create a great user experience around that? It doesn't have to be software. It's just when you come and talk to a person, how can you elevate their experience in any conversation, really?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about finding solutions for problems and really just kind of being that advocate or that trainer, and showing someone a little bit easier way to achieve the same goal. But like you said, if someone's comfortable doing spreadsheets, it can be kind of hard to break those old habits.
It's what they're comfortable using.
Hmm.
And, there's still things that I use spreadsheets for. Everybody does, right? It's
Hmm.
like there's a lot of budget apps. And, if you think about it, it's like, well, I'm just going to dump it into a spreadsheet because I can do it quicker. So it
Right.
just depends on your skill set and what you're trying to achieve. But there's so much going on in oil and gas software, especially in production accounting, that's not really the right vehicle to handle that anymore.
Mhm. Is that how you made your transition into oil and gas from your time at Apple and uh, Mac for software?
My transition to oil and gas was more for the support side because if you walked into an Apple store, you get incredible service, right? And that was modeled after some of the Ritz-Carlton policies, right? That when people come in, make them have them a warm welcome, try to figure out their problem. Don't make them feel like they don't belong. Everybody belongs, in this place. So when I joined the oil and gas industry, I did it from the support side. I was handling support calls and really trying to, again, elevate their experience, try to help them fix the issue they were trying to fix, either giving them, a couple of different options to kind of go with, or going down the path of, maybe we should try this. And that just kind of, bridged into working with some other people and hearing what they wanted, what their needs were in production accounting. And about 5 years ago, I started ProdLogic for production accounting consulting, so I could kind of get out there, do it on my own, and really enjoy those conversations and help them out. And that kind of has led to the software side again. I'm very passionate about software. I have been since I was at Apple, but I'm passionate about building something together with a community that wants to make the process and wants to make the industry better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can see where that was a natural progression for you. Like you said, it's like you kind of came from software, and then you did support and putting it all together. But wanting to do it on your own, was that just more of a desire to be independent, or you felt like you could do a little bit more for the industry, branching out?
I felt that the experiences could have been better, right? So coming from the Apple world, when you join oil and gas, you see a lot of options that you're just like, why are we still using that? And it just kind of makes you think, is it just because it's what people are comfortable using, or your head starts kind of spinning on how can we improve? How can we make the process better? And I really enjoy the software side of it. So I'm always looking for different ways, offering up opinions. But when I would sit down with the field teams, the production accounting teams, and the revenue teams, personally, I felt that those experiences could absolutely be elevated and could be a frankly, better experience, right? Things could run a little smoother. They could be on better technology. And why not make the job a little bit easier while you're doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. It's like just the evolution in the industry. It seems like we're moving more in that direction. Things are getting to be more automated, more precise. And so having good software in place obviously would make a huge difference as well, that you'd be able to have more accurate information, accurate data.
Absolutely. I kind of tell people, and I like using this analogy, in the past, I worked retail a lot too. So if you've ever worked a retail job, then you'll totally get this. But imagine that you have like 200 boxes that someone tells you to break down, and you're the only resource to do it, right? Which a lot of the production accounting teams and sometimes the revenue teams are, you think they should have more people than they really do. Once you get into the room, you're like, oh, okay, you guys are really handling a lot of work here. But say someone says, okay, you have to do this manually. You're going to use your hands. You're going to break down all those boxes. It's going to take you a very long time. You're going to be frustrated, and your hands are going to hurt. All right. But then someone comes in and says, oh, here, use the box cutter. And that's kind of what the legacy systems have done. They're saying, here, we've helped you out, but we're going to give you a better option this way. And it's not really the option you were looking for, right? But it's the option that they could do. Mm-hmm. So now you have a box cutter, excuse me, and you can get it done quicker, right? But it's still a manual process, and it still takes up a lot of time. And then someone comes in and goes, "Why aren't you just tossing those in the baler?" Right? Throw 200 boxes in there, hit a button, and let it crush them. You're done. So when you have the right tool, the whole process gets easier, and the actions and the results can still be the same. You just have a better tool to do the job. Mm-hmm. And we built Allocate to be the baler. We built it to be the tool to help out with that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great analogy, because you had a better option that came along, but the best option is obviously a tool that's going to cut out a lot of that unnecessary labor.
It's a tool that is designed to do it, mm-hmm. and not really an afterthought of, okay, here's a tool that can help you, but not really designing a tool that is meant for you. Mm-hmm. So if anybody follows ProdLogic or me on LinkedIn, they're going to see that quite often I'll put, let's build something better together. And it's because the feedback from the field and the feedback from revenue teams and production teams is paramount in how we design our products and how we deliver a great experience for the industry.
Mm-hmm. Right. And there's no better way to get accurate feedback than people that are in the industry that are, wanting the same outcome. Like what you're saying is finding a solution that's going to make it easier and better for everyone.
If you listen to them, they're telling you daily, right? It's just, what are you doing with that information? So, well, we're listening and we're trying to make it better.
Well, that's exciting. So you've been consulting, and that you've just kind of like grown over time, and you've talked to different individuals, and that led to the development and the evolution of this software.
It did. Now, there's a lot of different options for production accounting, but one thing that we noticed through consulting and talking to teams is that there was kind of a gap between the production teams and the revenue teams. And that gap that was existing was that production generally ends at the lease, right? Your custody transfer meter and what you're selling going back to the wells, and mostly in gas. And then you would have the conversation with some revenue teams, and they're going, we need more information from you than that. And production's going, this is where we stop. We stop here. So the revenue teams and the expectation of data that needed to exist got broader, right? They needed more information to do their job. And so the conversation kind of turned into, okay, well, whose responsibility is that? And it's ping-ponged over the years to say, okay, well, the production team is going to handle that. Oh, the revenue team should handle that. But it's always been kicked out of the system into a spreadsheet, because the tools that they're using weren't handling that process. And the reality was that companies were having conversations about who owns the process instead of having a conversation about, this is a new business process. It is a new part of the business that we've created over time, or it's manifested over time, and now needs to be taken care of. So ProdLogic has a section in it called post-lease allocation that allows for that gap. It's the business process we've addressed to take care of that part of the business, so that either a revenue person can handle it, or a production person can handle it, or an entirely new resource, if you want to say it's a marketing specialist, or it's whoever's going to be in that, whoever's going to handle it. And it's usually the person that's already handling the spreadsheet, that already knows what should be happening. So we built our application to handle production accounting, to capture data from the field, but also handle that midstream touch point, basically. And it's super important, because you don't have to kick it out to a spreadsheet anymore. You don't have to worry about putting contracts and all those things in there. You put it into allocate and hit a button, and we're going to allocate everything for you. Revenue can get their compressor fees, their marketing fees, they can get their component breakouts, and production can operate the way they've always wanted to.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a great tool to be able to utilize.
It's fun. It's fun to figure out problems.
Mm-hmm.
And solutions to them, and come up with a solution for it.
Yeah, to have the solution. So is that I'm assuming like a great reward doing consulting? Because you'd mentioned before that you naturally enjoy mentorship as well. Seems like you're able to give advice and kind of talk back and forth and offer different types of solutions in different capacities.
So I like to not only mentor, but just it's a conversation about what's really in front of you, right? So when I'm doing mentoring, or someone is coming in to say they want to start a new business, it's like, what are you really wanting to do? It's the first time that you're going out on your own, and you're like, you don't have to have someone telling you what you're supposed to do, right? So what do you want to do with your business? What do you want to do with your life, and what gets you out of bed every morning, right? Like I've said it, a couple of times now, I'm really passionate about software. I'll get out of bed for software and software development every day of the week, and I do. But I also do that for production accounting, because it's a business that I have learned over the years. I've been mentored by other people who have been awesome, and it's led me to where I am today, and I'm never going to forget that. So mentoring is something I want to pass along. It's kind of like pay it forward, right? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for people who mentored me, and I just want to do my part with that as well.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, that's a great frame around that, because that's a big part of a career path in general, but then in oil and gas and getting into more of those niche verticals where you really need this specialty knowledge and abilities to be able to serve like this very specific part of the industry. So to have that attitude with it as well, uh, it's really a unique position to be in to offer something like that with Allocate and with production accounting.
No, I agree. And the as time goes on, the expertise in production accounting, to me, it seems like it's getting less and less. Like either it's being passed around to different groups to say, hey, you know what, these people or this group can handle this now, and the team gets condensed a little bit. Or, from a business standpoint, some people just don't think it's as busy as it's supposed to be, right, or important. I've found that not to be true. Production accounting are liaisons between a whole bunch of different groups, between the field bringing in volumes and having to, call them and discuss things with them when the well or the meters is not reading right, to getting all the data prepared for revenue so that revenue can do their jobs, to filing regulatory reports for the state and federal agencies that need to be done, and also communicate to directors and executive levels, over production and over the company so that they can keep producing and make sure that those wells stay economical. So they carry a tremendous load, and I've been in some conversations over the years where they're like, oh, well, we can have some of the revenue team kind of pick that up. And I completely disagree with that, right? The production accounting team is vitally important to the process. And when some companies kind of back away from that, I think they learn a little bit later on, no, we really needed to kind of we need more people there. We don't need less, because they are really that important. So ProdLogic is not just a consulting and software company. We like to be a voice for production accounting and also revenue accounting.
Yeah.
And the field.
Absolutely. I think you do a great job representing that and putting that information out there. And it's not an easy thing to branch out on your own and to build something, but to really be so passionate about it and so dedicated. That's I can see what you mean about like getting out of bed every day and being like so committed to what you do.
Yep. And I'm relatively new to listening to your podcast, but I've been catching up. And I listened to the last one with Jeff, and he was talking about just showing up, right? And I 100% agree with that. At the same time, it's not just showing up; it's being passionate about it as well. Because there's a lot of people that show up that are not passionate. They show up, they do the job, but they're not inspiring anybody. And that's not a lot of people just don't want to do that, right? They're okay just showing up. But the people that really do care and have something to say and want to kind of project, good vibes across the industry, do something you love to do. Why hold back on that?
Yeah, I agree. That's how I feel about like what I've built also, because I could show up for a job and do a great job, but there wouldn't be passion there, wouldn't be the right alignment. And so when you create something on your own, you're the only one showing up. So you got to show up with like the workload, the enthusiasm, the passion, all of it. And I mean, it can be a great undertaking to build something on your own, but it's also very rewarding. You're in the driver's seat all day.
It is. It's rewarding. It's a little tiring, but it's exciting. And getting started is one of the hardest things, right? Because there's so much for you to do when you're getting started. You're thinking about your message, and you're thinking about am I going to have people that actually care or want to listen, and are people going to call me because they think I'm the right resource? And my word to you is just bet on yourself. If you are comfortable with what you're doing, you think the business, you don't have to be an expert, but know it well, right? And if you've worked in the industry for 10 plus years, you probably know it pretty well. You know it a lot better than some other people. So take that experience and share it with others and create a business around it. And I don't think you're going to believe it's going to fail.
Right. Yeah. And just staying the course But so yeah, agreed. Showing up, but doing so with enthusiasm and focus and passion is also
Yes.
important.
Because if you don't, it's very easy to just throw in the towel and say, okay, well, I
Yeah,
tried.
yeah.
Did you really try?
Hmm.
Did you did you give it 100%?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough though. Anything that you do, I mean, you're going to have those peaks and valleys. I've weathered many storms through them. And I think it's just finding what you feel is right for you, what you want to do, and keep going. Because there's so many different levels that you can reach in the industry and on your own. So I appreciate the unique position that I've built for myself, although at times I can feel like I'm under leveraging the platform because I'm like, no one's telling me to try new things or do something else, or like when it's just you and it's very creative, like you might miss something. And so I'm going into year 3 and I feel like I'm just now really starting to get a lot of the like the boundaries in place and understanding, like seeing the different conversations and patterns that keep happening, and being able to say that after 70 episodes, like you have to put in the time to be able to even like look back and have that data to reference and see like, well, these episodes do great with this audience, or this topic is really popular. This is something that we haven't talked about yet. So I've been able to do something similar with my podcast and with my platform, just showing up, but making sure that I'm showing up and it's fresh content and it's exciting or it's useful. If it's educational and informative, I feel like I'm at least hitting the mark.
Right. No, you're learning every day, and that's what's also exciting about it. And don't be afraid to try new things. I have a really good friend that has instilled a quote in me, as when he was mentoring me, and it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
And if something is not working, and turn it around, flip it around, go ask someone, for some feedback, just ask a random person, if it's something design related, like, hey, do you think this looks good? And ask a lot of people, because some people, your friends will be like, oh yeah, that looks great. And then some other people are going to be like, no, not really.
Right.
So, but you get that feedback, and you ask them, how can I improve? What can I do better here? And, after, 5-6 years, I know it's a long time, but you will see yourself grow. The people around you will see you grow. They will be 100% on your team and looking to help and project your success. And but you had to start with yourself, right? You had to believe it yourself first, because if you don't believe it, you're not manifesting and projecting that to others either.
Yeah. Well, and well said also, with it being a 5 to 6 year journey. I think we're always chasing like that instant gratification, instant success, not realizing. So you see someone that's successful, you don't see the years that they put in behind the scenes to make that happen.
Right.
So it's like you're always chasing that image of success, and that's not how it works. And so having to put in those early years of development and learning, that's how you build something sustainable.
The more time you put into it, the more successful you seem to come off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's if you're willing to do the work, it's very rewarding, and if you're passionate about what you're doing, then it won't feel like work.
Right.
It just feels like you're having fun every day, and share that fun with other people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, something that we had spoken about before, and I appreciated your perspective on, was using AI and some of the nuances, I guess, that people aren't aware of, and some things to look out for when you are using something like that.
Yeah, AI is a fun conversation right now. And I have kind of two different perspectives, honestly. It's the personal perspective, and then it's the business perspective. So when, OpenAI and ChatGPT came out, of course, I'm a software guy, and I'm jumping right in there and be like, what can it do? And had a lot of fun with it, and, was asking it all different kinds of stuff, right? But then from a business side, you're looking at it and you're going, okay, so where does all this data that I'm typing in go? Do I want to trust my company to it? And it can be wrong. So do I want to trust not only my brand, but do I want to put my customers in that, in their data in that kind of sphere? And I think those are some important questions that it's come on so quickly that the train's moving and everybody's trying to jump onto the train as fast as they can because they're like, it can do so many things. It can do analytics so quickly. But I'm a big advocate of experience matters as well. And if it should be used as a tool, right? There are some people that are using ChatGPT and a few other ones to say, hey, I want to say this in an email, and they chunk it in there, right? And it comes back out and they're like, oh, it writes it better than I ever could. Well, that's not true because your personality comes out in everything you write and everything you say and everything you do. And that is never going to be replaced by AI. So your experience and the things that you, that make you you, don't hand it to a computer, right? Why do that? Why do that? That's how we end up with Skynet and Terminator situations, right? It's like, let it run everything, and then we don't need you.
I think the AI craze is going to scale back. I enjoy using it. It helps me, and I agree with you. It's like you always want your personality and things, and I will use it as a tool to help write something for my podcast or editing. It's like I will use it to try and become a better writer. 'Cause I'm a natural writer, but I'll put something in ChatGPT and say, refresh this or give me an idea here, and I'm like, oh, I like the word choice or the frame. But it always makes me laugh when I read someone's post on LinkedIn, and it's not even speaking like it would be a human. It's like you can tell that came from a generated machine. And so for me, it's like I really appreciate knowing I have this tool. But I think like right now we've been in a craze where it's like, look at what it can do, and it can create crazy, funny pictures and videos. And it's pretty amazing what it can do, but I think we're already seeing like how destructive it could be if it got too out of hand. And a lot of people are kind of like being a little bit more, not just like so open with it. Like there were a lot of things we didn't know in the beginning. Also, it's like your privacy. Right. It's like, well, where's all of this going, and how is this getting stored, and why, and how would that be interpreted? And so there's still very much a gray area with it.
Well, it's kind of interesting because that conversation has actually been happening for a while. It just wasn't happening in a certain space. So, so my wife runs an art business, and the artists all around have been wondering, okay, well, these different AIs can generate these different images. What's their source for that? AI can't draw. It can't come up with a painting, right? So it's got to be using a source for that. And there's been tons of conversations about, is it using their images to come up and extrapolate a new image from millions of billions of artists across the world to present that to you. So that's, again, from a software standpoint, right? We decided to actually build our own small AI in-house for Allocate, because we want full control over it. We want to know what data it's using. We don't want to build it off of the source of data that has just been loaded into an AI model because it's been captured or scraped from the internet, because that may not be accurate, and it also might be proprietary.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of seeing it also. It's like the way it's impacting so many different cultures and businesses, and like where are they getting the data from? Where are they getting the original images? Or you hear the AI remakes of songs, and it's pretty wild.
Correct.
And it's like, I don't know. I'm not into all of that. Like, I like that we have it, but definitely, especially in business and in the oil and gas industry, like it's not going to replace everything. Like the fear that it could, and it shouldn't. And I think that we're going to come into a time where we all value human connection more than we did, because we're getting a little too far away. I think like when we went through COVID and everyone had the social distancing, and you were able to work from home, and Zoom and Teams are just taking over the world. And now it's, Well, we like being face to face, and it's nice to be able to have that as a tool, but that's not replacing human connection. That was something that got implemented because of
Right.
circumstance. Look like, hey, this is really valuable. It's great that some things can be done remotely. We can be more efficient, but we're never going to completely get away from the desire to have human connection or human participation.
Correct. And, that's, again, what makes it fun, right? It's fun to go out and talk to people. It's also, can be fun to talk to, ChatGPT every once in a while if you want to practice for certain things. But my emphasis again is going to be use it as a tool and, kind of look at it and say, are you doing that now? Or are you letting it take a lot of responsibility from you? So pull that responsibility back if that's the answer. Like, bring it back to yourself. And then let's open up the conversation a little more on, what does responsible AI look like in the future? And I think there's a lot of different groups that are opening those conversations. It's just right now it's a big push for data centers and AI to grow and analytics, and it's a very, very fast moving train right now. And the question is, are you going to jump on it, or do you want to slow it down a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where we're starting to get a lot of friction also, because it's like, well, we have data centers popping up everywhere, but what about the farmers and the farmland and the water and resources? And so I think that there's a lot of conversations that are happening right now where it's like, this is great, we need it, but don't let it take over everything, because then we won't be able to get that back.
It's great at analytics, right? It can review data faster than most people can do it on a daily basis. But like from an oil and gas standpoint, someone who's been out in the field and has been working on that well and knows how, knows their land and knows the wells, is their expertise is far more important than the analytics of that.
Yeah, that's also a good point. I agree. Well, right here at the beginning of the year, you're kicking everything off with ProdLogic and the software and talking about everything and all the changes in the industry that are happening. But you're also gearing up to attend NAPE next month.
Yep, we're going to be at NAPE. So if you're interested in talking about production accounting or streamlining processes around it, or just opening a conversation and need someone to kind of be part of that conversation to help out and help everybody understand what's going on, we're going to be there. We're also going to talk about Allocate, and we can talk about that post-lease allocation process that I guarantee can help your business today.
Oh, that's exciting. NAPE is in Houston, and that's February
18th through the 20th.
18th through the 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you been to NAPE before? Or is that something that you?
I've been as a attendee. I haven't been there as actually in a booth. So this is the first year with the company, with my company, getting out in front of people and saying, "Hey, we're here and we're here to play."
That's exciting.
It's super exciting.
And it's a big step to be exhibiting. It's one thing to attend, but to actually like have the whole booth set up. That's definitely taking the next step.
We did a few last year in preparation to get a little bit of practice, but yeah, we're ready.
Well, congratulations with
Thank
all
you.
of the success and everything that you've built. I appreciate all the knowledge that you shared today and in hearing everything about ProdLogic and Allocate.
It was a pleasure to be here, and I really enjoy listening to your podcast and the conversations that you are bringing to light every week.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you, everyone, for watching Power of the Permian. We'll see you next time.